Hi, I'm Johnny, and this is Deb, and we are the Southern Snowmobile Freaks.
Hey y'all.
So today, I'm going to give you a little review on this Banks Monster Ram. It was installed about 6 months ago, and overall, it's okay. If you're looking for performance upgrade on a stock engine, this is completely bone stock truck. It's a 2018 Ram 3500 HO with the Aisin transmission, and I mainly installed this Monster Ram because of the issues with that grid heater. I mean, that was pretty much the only reason I installed this, and I see absolutely no difference in performance, none whatsoever. People are going to say I'm wrong, but I'm just telling you, I don't see any difference in performance. Yes, it did eliminate my concern about the grid heater, but now I've created another problem. So this is one of the early models with the single heater, and now when I start the truck and it's below 30 degrees, 25 degrees, and I'm in South Carolina, the truck misfires for a second or two, and then it clears up. So now, apparently Banks knows of this problem, and you know, they have another solution that now the new ones are coming with dual heat, but they're not going to send me a dual heat, and they sent me this heater. So when unboxing this thing, you could see they give you the adapter, and they give you all the gaskets, and it's a pretty nice little setup. If hopefully it cures my problem, and they give you extension. Now they give you a short extension. I guess this is for when you have a dual heater in the original Monster Ram, and they give you all the hardware, and they give you a little thing of Molly coat, and they give you a ground strap right here. And this looks pretty easy to do. You just take off this here intake plate, and there's 4 bolts they give you, and goes between that intake plate and the Monster Ram. And I don't really know how hard it's going to be to get it to fit, because that intake boot is going to have to be compacted a little bit to try to adapt for it. Okay, so I figured out what they're doing with this temperature sensor relocator. Is this fits right inside here, and you can see this bolts on. It'll bolt on. There's a bolt in the top, and it fits like, it's kind of hard to do, but it fits right inside here like this, and there's a hole, and it tightens up. You can see it fits pretty nicely, and Banks does a really nice job with this machining. I just wanted to add that. But what it's doing is getting the temperature sensor out of the path of the heater. I can understand what they're doing now. So I started by removing this shield, and this shield just fit right on there. And now I'm gonna just take the rest of the 4 bolts out, and try to get that adapter piece in the middle of it. Okay, so I don't want to bore you with taking the bolts out. It's 4 bolts, and you got to get the intake boot off, so I'll time lapse this. Okay, so as you see, I got the intake horn off, and the old gasket is in pretty good shape. I think I'm gonna reuse it because it'll just be one less thing I'm fighting with when I try to get it in. This one bolt behind the bottom is a little rough to get out, and I'm sure it's going to be just as bad to get in, but you can see this fits pretty nicely, and Banks gives you the extra long bolt so it fits, goes through, and it fits pretty nicely. I do kind of wish they would have gave bolts, with a high collar on them, so you didn't have to have a washer. But I mean, that's not really something to complain about. It would just be one less thing you're fighting with when you're trying to get this thing in, especially that last bolt on the back. But this is a very straightforward installation. I'm doing it in my driveway. It's nothing you can't do at home if you got a little mechanical knowledge, and I'll be just putting it back in. And also I wanted to add, I'm going to be cleaning this temperature sensor. I cleaned it when I put this intake in, and it's pretty dirty again, and I don't know why, but I hope there's not an issue, because like I said, I'm not really getting any better fuel mileage. I don't notice any difference of power. I have no check engine lights. There's nothing wrong with the truck. And Banks has sent this to me under warranty, which is nice. I kind of wish I had the dual heater. I'm going up to Maine with this truck, and I hope I don't have problems. But we're just going to go into the reverse procedure of putting this back in, and I'm going to time lapse it again. I'm not going to bore you with it. Okay, so Banks gives you this jumper wire. You can see it goes down, and there's there's that air temp sense relocator. One thing about it is the mass airflow sensor wire is a little bit tight for my liking, but it'll work. I don't really think it's going to give you any trouble. They give you this ground strap, and they say to be sure to put it on, and you could see everything's nice and clean. They give you 2 bolts with it, but I'm going to use the original bolt because I want to put that original cover back on, so it'll still fit, and I'll install that now. Okay, I got everything plugged back in, and you could see that new heater is down in there, and I put this cover back on because you can see it holds the wire harness really nicely, and there's a bolt right there that holds the wire harness. And one thing about doing this job is right here, this gasket is really, really sharp, and it will tear your arm up. I worked through it. I didn't modify it at all, but it'll tear you up. So, either I would almost recommend filing the edge of it off. But I'm coming around, and this truck ran this morning for a couple of minutes, but I'm sure it's probably going to go into a diesel preheat. And you could see the adapter down there. So it moved the air intake temp sensor. So I'm going to come around and I also checked the air filter, and the air filter is good. So I don't know why that air intake temp sensor got so dirty so fast, but here I am. I'm gonna step on the brake. So it hardly preheated, but it started right up, and you could see it's 50 degrees out, and that's about what the truck is. But it started right up. No issues with check engine lights yet. Hopefully it'll stay that way. I think I plugged everything in nice and firm, but you can see it running with the bank system. We'll see what happens. Hopefully this resolves my problem. Maybe I'll get a little better fuel mileage with cleaning that air intake temp sensor. This truck is the heavy duty model. It's a dually, and empty, like, you know, on the highway I run 75, you know, to 80. The speed limit down here is 70, and I get about 13 miles to the gallon. You're right there, you can see it says 13.8. Pulling the trailer, I have a fifth wheel that's about 20,000 pounds, and I get about 8. It depends on where you are. If you're in the mountains, you'll get a little less, and sometimes on the flatlands, if it's warm, you know, the truck isn't running as rich, you'll get a little more. Maybe you'll get 9, but it averages about 8 miles to the gallon with a 20,000 pound trailer on it, and I run on the highway doing about 70 with the camper. And, you know, the truck pulls it excellent. So I just got back from test drive, and nothing's really changed. The truck drive the same. Actually went down a tick. It's showing 13.7 miles to the gallon, but I was driving around town, so I don't think the gas mileage or the fuel mileage is going to change, but it is what it is. I wish it did get a little better mileage. This truck, like I said, is totally stock besides that monster Ram, and the airbox is all original. So, you know, getting the temp sensor dirty is not from one of those air filters that has the oil in it. And I've been down that road. I had a shop for many years, and in the old days I remember those K&N filters. If you used them, especially on the Fords, they would jam up that mass airflow sensor, and you have to keep cleaning that sensor. And I like things to be stock and original for my everyday driver. You know, if things that are you know, used for recreation. You know, I have a motorcycle, a V8 chopper, and obviously that thing's modified. It's, you know, 425 horsepower on a motorcycle, and you know, it gives you trouble here and there. It's not like a car from the factory, but I mean, overall it drives good. But this is going to conclude this video, and we'll see you next time.